The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Cowboys! This is Mick Shots, streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app. Now, here are Bill Jones, Savannah Humoller, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
It is a Monday morning here inside the SWBC podcast studio, and I thought I checked my headset, and
that's all right.
Mine's there. It is.
There
I
we
can
go.
Hear myself a little bit.
It's early.
It is, and this. Oh
there
my! Now this is the way you start off a new
wake
week.
me up a little bit. That's
coffee. Right. This will get you kick-started for NFL Draft Weekend 2024.
Bill's the only one that can do a 30-minute sports special, and 28 of it was the draft.
on a day that the Mavericks played and the day before the Stars played and the Rangers played, and Scotty Scheffler, well, he was en route to winning a golf tournament,
from winning.
which he did this morning. He got off to the best start of this week, as he didn't have to do much. He was 2 over par and won a golf tournament this morning at Hilton Head. And so maybe that bodes well for Dallas this week. Draft week.
I don't know. That's a stretch.
So
that's a stretch. That's a major stretch. I'm with you, Bill, but damn.
All I could think of with the Mavericks getting their ass beat
You
in the
just think
first
of
game,
January.
it was like the cloud that hangs over the Cowboys with that loss to Green Bay still exists because they had to compare the Mavericks loss to what the Cowboys did.
No, they did.
Oh, yeah.
Come on,
we
man.
haven't seen a game like this since, January.
Oh, no, they did.
Yes,
man.
they did.
They may not have, but I did.
No, that was the popular opinion last night on sports and
That's
this
what I
morning
said.
on the radio.
It was me. That's what Bill said. Yeah,
It
was
reminded
me. It was
me.
Bill.
It reminded me of that.
Fortunately, they get 6 more games if they can win.
That's right. That's the difference between the NFL. You're one and done in the NFL.
If you play like that, score 8 points in the second quarter?
That's what. Yep.
Well, I'm a Stars man now, so.
That's right.
That's right.
I
It's been
love
your-
to hear it, you guys.
I went to the
go.
game the other. I didn't go to the. Well, they just having their playoff game, but I
You
went to the last
Wednesday
game.
You
Yeah,
went
the
to
Wednesday
the
game.
fan appreciation
Yeah,
night.
man, it was fun.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
Round
I stuck
one.
around for some T-shirts, but of course, they didn't shoot any to the black people. They just
Because they knew where you were sitting,
exactly.
right?
It was only a few of us.
I was going to say, you stuck out like a sore thumb.
Me and my baby brother, we were there, had a good time though. They kicked butt. Yeah, everything was cool. They started off kind of slow, man.
Yeah,
I
they
was
did.
kinda
They
concerned.
did,
Yeah.
and then they picked it
They
up.
picked it up.
They
man.
picked
We
it up
knew
in
they
the
would.
third period.
We knew
Yeah.
they would. We knew they would. It was really nice to see. And I'm ready. I wish I could go to a playoff game if someone had some tickets around
Yeah,
here
no
somewhere.
kidding.
And we could all just-
Does anyone work over
I
there
don't
and do
know.
some
Anybody? I mean,
Anybody have a
any connections?
Any
Short
guy. It doesn't
season
have to be a
ticket?
guy. It could be a female. I mean, you just never know,
You know,
man.
exactly.
Never
We
know.
never know. Maybe some playoff tickets will wind up in your account. Who
Hey
knows?
man, that would be great.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean,
see.
especially
We'll
if
see.
you
There's hope.
you want more diverse. You want more diverse
right.
audience. You
We
know,
need to
then
get
I'm
you
the
your
guy.
T-shirt,
You know.
is what we're saying.
There's a big Hamilton Park crowd, the
That's
hockey
right.
crowd
I'll
over
bring
there.
a Native American with me. I could bring all kind of people with me.
Well, now that I know that, if someone doesn't want to go with me Wednesday night, I'll think about you.
Oh yeah, please do.
Oh, you have
Please
a
do.
ticket?
Yeah.
Oh,
Please do.
wow.
Please do.
It's
I'm
what's
ready.
hard though sometimes when you don't have like a lot of friends.
Mickey, what?
Stop, Spags. This is not the moment for that.
It's like
They're trying to
I wanna
be
hear it.
uplifting
Yeah, right.
today.
you have
go
to
with
know.
that, man.
It's got to be somebody special to sit with you for 3 hours.
That would be me.
Right? Yeah,
that would be me.
I could
There
sit with
go.
you
I
for
could-
3 hours.
Oh,
Yeah, there
these two
you
are
go.
going on the
There you
jumbotron
go.
if that happens.
Hey, it's gonna
No,
be
that-
intense, bro. That's gonna be real intense.
I don't think the
Yeah.
Jumbotron shoots where I sit.
All right, so what a big week you have, Savannah.
I have one of the busiest weeks, I think, so far of
What's
the year.
going on?
So, round 1, Stanley Cup playoffs start tonight against the Vegas Knights.
They
so
are the
excited
defending
for
champion, Vegas
Yes, I
Golden
know.
Knights.
Yes.
I know.
This is the revenge series,
right.
is what I'm calling
Damn
it.
right.
So,
Yeah.
very excited. Wednesday morning, fly to Detroit. So I will miss the Stars game here at home Wednesday night, but I will be in Detroit.
Oh, that's
through
right.
Can Everson
Sunday
use your
at
pass
the
to get
draft.
into the
See?
Stars
Come
game?
on, man. And then
Mike Pratt, yeah.
I'll be looking at Spags. You know, he'll be way up there. I'll be down here.
No, she sits way up there.
That's
Also.
all right.
Okay,
I'm
so
good.
what are you doing in Detroit?
In Detroit, many things. We have a few events kicking off Wednesday afternoon. We have a Q&A with Commissioner Roger Goodell.
About that.
Yes.
Nice.
Will be very nice. And then Thursday, we'll do some draft theater tours with some groups out there. And then we'll watch the red carpet. I have a couple video guys coming with me from our team here, and we'll go watch all the prospects that are going to be in Detroit, walk the red carpet, and then we will be there on the floor watching all the calls, all
floor.
the picks.
What about
Yes.
the fashion correspondence, right? You have to have one, right? Because the guy's going to be coming out there dressed to the nines.
Oh,
Come
absolutely.
on, you got-
I'm like, I'm
you
going to
gotta
pull the
find out what
nicest
everyone's
one,
wearing.
nicest outfit. I'm going to say, hi,
Right.
who are you wearing today?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Bill, you should have hired her to do you on the spot.
Well, I was thinking,
Report.
about that driving in, that we do a FaceTime, a Zoom, whatever.
we could do that.
You know, and be our reporter there.
And she might get a chance to be a part of the interview for whoever the Cowboys take
Wow,
at
that'd be
24.
kinda
That's right.
If that is the case, I'm so excited. We'll see if
There
we
you
have a
go.
prospect there.
So
You
do we
think the
have any
Cowboy-
idea who this person's going to be?
You think the Cowboys are going to pick at 24?
No, I don't.
You're going to move up.
No.
Not going to move up.
Move
They
down.
got no ammunition to move up.
Move down. And
Out of bullets. Out of bullets.
That's right.
you know what we ought to do over the course of this show is figure out if they should move down. 5 guys at different positions that might be there and decide, okay, which one of those 5 would you take?
Okay.
Since
Let's find out.
Since Bill has a 7-round draft for the
I got a
Cowboys,
7-round mock draft that
and he knows what all the teams in front of the Cowboys are going to do so they can get that guy
That's right.
in the 6th round.
That's right.
Bill could be in the 6th round. Bill could be somewhat, I don't know.
Nerdy?
No, yeah, that. And a little bit off the wall. You know, I have to say that because you'll
You
come up
wouldn't
with some
believe how many
scenario.
hours I spend. That's why I've got this big notebook
and I
here.
think you come in here when you're at the end of everything. And you're like, I'm done.
Come up with crazy ideas.
Crazy
when
ideas.
You're looking at prospects at 2:00 in the morning.
And they
as
all
you're
have
falling
something to do
asleep.
with someone that played football in the state of Texas, especially in the Dallas
That's right. That's why we're drafting Trey Taylor in the 7th round out of
See that?
Frisco Lone Star
See
High
that?
School, the safety from Air Force.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because no one else will take him.
No, he's probably could go in the 6th round, as a matter of fact.
okay.
You know, we talked about
6, right?
Darius Robinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a Missouri guy. He's going to be one of the prospects
He is.
on site in Detroit.
He's from Detroit.
Well, since you brought that up, in case you guys did not hear what Stephen Jones had to say on Friday on 105.3 The Fan,
Let's hear it.
he was talking about the defense. And he said, because they asked him what might change with Mike Zimmer coming in, being the defensive coordinator. And he said, I think anytime you bring in a new coordinator, you're going to have changes. And certainly Mike brings an edge. Coaches in a different way than Dan. Dan was very successful in the way he did it, but I think Mike has been very successful in this league in the way he does it. And certainly, philosophically, we'll have more of a 3-linebacker system rather than 2 linebackers and 3 safety system that Dan preferred. I think the other thing, we'll probably look to be bigger and stronger in the middle. I think obviously our Achilles heel the last 2 or 3 years has been stopping the run.
Wow.
How about that?
Man, they figured it out. That's good.
I wrote like 1,000 words on it, saying this is music to my ears, because that's what we've been talking about.
Right.
Linebackers and being able to stop the run.
Well, would you say in Dan Quinn's defense that it's how he was working with what he had?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Having said that, though, I do know that the ones who are making the draft picks listen intently to the coaches, too. Mm-hmm. And so the coaches do have input in, okay, this is what we need on the roster. I need X number of linebackers. I need X number of defensive linemen on the team.
Right.
And so
the coaches, of safeties.
The coaches are they want to get players that fit whatever the coach's scheme is. And so when Leighton Vander Esch goes down with an injury in October, and DeMarvion Overshown has already gone down with an injury in August, actually what needed to be set before the season even started was depth at the linebacker position in case those injuries occur. And then when Overshown goes down, how about picking up somebody when cuts are made that you can fortify the position?
More so than Rashaan Evans.
And Rashaan Evans was a guy who was a free agent who wasn't in a camp with anybody, and then they brought in for briefly. But anyway, the coaches have input on that. They're talking to them all the time. Right. And so if Dan Quinn says, I've got to get a linebacker, they're going to do everything they can to get him a linebacker.
Well, and if you think about what took place the year before, it wasn't out of injuries, but they wanted to play Jaron Kearse as a big linebacker.
And see, this is the point that you're making, that Steven's making about Mike Zimmer. He's going into it with a plan. Okay, this is our base defense right here. This is the personnel that we need on this defense. We need to work from a base of 3 linebackers, not a base of 2 linebackers. And that changes your entire inventory on your roster.
It does.
And think about it. So we still don't know what Mike Zimmer thinks Micah Parsons is. Because if he thinks, he's going to play defensive end, then if they had to play today, they don't have 3 linebackers.
Or he may think that when you're in your 4-3 defense, a traditional 4-3, Parsons is a linebacker, and then in the nickel he is a rush end.
And then I need another linebacker just in case somebody gets hurt, because they're counting on DeMarvion Overshown to be one of those top 3 or 4 linebackers. Which, by the way, watching him work out with Britt doing his rehab, he's moving awfully well. So he should be ready for sure by the start of training camp.
For some reason, I think I'm the only one that looks at him as undersized. Am I the only one?
Somewhat. I mean, he's probably not 230. Now, he might be after spending a year working out and, doing weights. But as a weak side linebacker, I think you probably can get away with it. Or a linebacker that's going to play in the change-up defense, right? When you go to nickel and you want more of a cover linebacker.
I could see him as the middle linebacker for the third down or dime defense. I can see that.
But isn't Eric Kendricks primarily will fill that middle linebacker slot?
And so if you
even on passing down,
if you got Kendricks, if you got Damone Clark and Micah Parsons, there's your 3 right there.
Yeah.
But if it's the other way around, then here's another case of you're relying on somebody coming back from an ACL to be your third linebacker.
I think it's still going to take time for him to develop.
Right. So another linebacker is a need. And would you be mad at them if they took a linebacker? I don't know, Bill, at 28, if there's a linebacker worth taking at that spot if you trade down?
Typically, the off-the-ball linebackers you won't find them in the first round. I mean, you won't need to draft them in the first round, but you might have to draft them before you pick in the second round at 56.
Right.
And so even though an off-the-ball linebacker may not get drafted in the first round, a couple of them could easily be off the board by the time your second-round pick rolls around.
Isn't there another one?
So in that case, in a trade down scenario, you can,
There's a linebacker from Alabama again? Or am I thinking A&M?
Those A&M, Edgerrin Cooper is an off-the-ball linebacker. Junior Colson's another one from Michigan.
Michigan, that's the guy I was thinking.
And he's a guy who's would be a great leader of your defense, a guy with a green dot, middle linebacker type. But you're probably looking second round for him.
Okay.
But he could be gone before 56 again.
So let's go back to what Savannah brought up about the defensive tackle, Darius Robinson. He end of the first round, right?
He could be into the first round. Could be.
So listening to what Stephen Jones said, if they want to get bigger in the middle, well, there's another guy that can help play either position in the middle.
It could be middle of the first round. You don't know.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
That's the thing with all these mock drafts that come out, these so-called experts. It's like two guys do a mock draft back in January, or they start rating the players,
and then they do five
everybody,
more.
But everybody copies off the first guy, and so. In the media, you've got all these people slotted in certain areas of the draft, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see, if you follow this stuff, that you see a guy that's 45th on somebody's board goes 20th in the draft.
Right.
And there's going to be a wide array of wow, they did that.
So
when actually they know a heck of a lot more about the players than any of us out here do.
So what if we move Micah to linebacker, right?
Okay.
Now we need a defensive end, correct?
Either way, I think
defensive ends to begin with, but
Yes.
Say one more time.
You're already down two defensive ends, at least, with Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler signing with Washington.
So are we not even thinking that that's a possibility? To go with a defensive end?
No, I think you absolutely should.
That's why Bill likes Robinson. For
he's got versatility. He can play
2 or
inside
3 years
outside.
at Missouri, he played defensive tackle. This last year, he played defensive end. And he was pretty
But
darn
he's a big
disruptive.
He is a big guy, though. He's 285 pounds. And so he would be like a base defensive end.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't see him getting around the end with that.
No, he's not. He's not a pin years back, come around, and with bend and whatever.
This isn't Randy Gregory.
Right. No.
Right.
But also, I feel like they should be planning ahead. Given, let's look at DeMarcus Lawrence. He's 11 seasons into the NFL. Wouldn't you want to be strategic if you did pick a defensive end, because you have to plan for the future of DeMarcus Lawrence?
Well, good point, because, by the way, this is the last year of his contract.
I did not know he'd been on the team.
2014. How about the 2014 draft? You got
11 seasons.
Crazy.
2014 draft, you got Zach Martin in the first round, and then you traded a second and third round pick to move up to take DeMarcus Lawrence at 34.
I gotta say, he's not playing like he's 11 years in the league.
No, and the other thing about Darius Robinson, he's got a lot of DeMarcus Lawrence in him as far as leadership goes and so forth, and
intellect.
That's the other
academic All-American.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's a lot easier to be academic All-American when you go to Missouri.
Yeah, but at least he knows the words to the fight song, because there's words to it.
I know the words to our fight song, too.
Right.
It's like one word, right?
Two, Boomer and Sooner.
Unless it's hyphenated.
That's a good one.
Okay, so what you want to do on this show then
is
you want to paint a scenario of trading down from 24 and what might be available for the Cowboys if they did so, like trade down to, say, 30 or something like that.
Right, right.
In fact, in my big green notebook mock draft last night, I had a trade which matched up on the trade value chart where the Cowboys traded their first and second round pick to Baltimore for Baltimore's first, second, third, and fourth round picks. So that what the Cowboys did was
and Baltimore agreed to it too.
No, but it matched up with the trade value chart. Mm-hmm. And for Baltimore, what they're doing, Baltimore moves up from 30 to 24 in the first round. They moved up from 62 to 56 in the second round, and they already had another fourth round pick. And so basically all they were doing was giving up a third round pick to move up 6 spots in the first round and a fourth round pick to move up 6 spots in the second round.
All right.
To target their player.
Let's work with it.
Okay, we're going to work with that. And you know what I'm going to do when we come back here? I'm going to call up a little mock draft simulator, okay? And we'll see who that mock draft simulator says will be available for the Cowboys at pick number 30, okay?
All right.
And then we'll run through 5 candidates at different positions, and we'll figure out who the Cowboys should draft.
What a show to have at 9 in the morning.
It's draft week.
Do you like that?
Yes.
Okay, we don't have to do it. I'm not forcing it on you.
I want to see.
I'm here for it.
Okay, all right, we're going to do that. It's mock draft time when we come back here on Mock Shots.
I'm on the fence.
Big Shots.
I'm on the fence.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? Or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
To Mixed Shots.
The Cowboys aren't the only ones on the clock this spring. Make your pick with the new 2024 draft caps. Visit a pro shop near you or log on to shop.dallascowboys.com, a Fanatics experience, and stay ready for the 2024 NFL draft weekend.
Okay, I didn't think we were going to do this on this edition of Mix Shots, but Mickey insists that we do a mock draft.
You insisted?
See, I thought Everson was supposed to come prepared with one as well.
That's
right.
That was his homework.
That was the
happen.
homework assignment.
Y'all
That's
knew
right.
that wasn't going to happen.
There is a Grambling player. By the end of the show, I may convince you. I should have taken a Grambling player in the 7th round of the draft. There's an edge rusher from Grambling, Everson. Okay. All right. So what Mickey wants to do is he wants to trade down from 24, and we just threw out a trade scenario with Baltimore, let's say, where they trade down to number 30 and pick up a 3rd and a 4th, which would give the Cowboys now pick number 30, and they also are trading down in the 2nd round to 62, okay? And then they have their own 3rd round pick at 87, Baltimore's 3rd round at 93, and then a 4th round pick at 130. Okay?
And it doesn't have to be that complicated, by the way.
That's not complicated.
They could trade down to 28, pick up
So
a
that's
third.
a total of 5?
Yeah, so we're trading down.
We're just trading down.
We're trading down from 24 to 30, and we're picking up a third-round pick.
Okay.
Okay. And the reason why, as we all know, that we need to pick up a third-round pick is there are about 9 vacancies on the roster that haven't been filled, and they only have 7 draft picks. So we need to get to 9 draft picks to fill these vacancies.
Sounds good.
Okay. So I'm using the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator here, and I am starting the draft right now. And Caleb Williams is the number 1 pick of the Chicago Bears.
Shocking.
It's going very fast here. We're moving on down. Okay, Dallas Turner just went off the board. J.J. McCarthy went to the Jets at number 10. Amarius Mims, big tackle from Georgia, is gone. Brock Bowers to Indianapolis. Quinyon Mitchell, J.C. Latham, Brian Thomas, Jared Verse, Chop Robinson,
Just
Nate
skip
Wiggins.
to 24.
Jackson Powers Johnson is gone. And here we are. We are at pick number 24. You'd actually have a trade offer from Washington. Dan Quinn's on the phone.
Oh.
Okay, he wants. Would you trade down from 24 to 36?
Too far.
Washington. Oh wait, no. Here's this proposal, which is crazy. Okay. How about this one? I haven't looked at it at the value chart. Washington wants to give you 36 and 40. Okay, for pick 24 and 87.
No.
You're
Too
not
far.
interested.
Not interested.
And it's an even up swap. You're not gaining a draft pick either.
Yeah. No.
Okay. All right. We rejected that. All right. So at 24, okay, Graham Barton is available for you.
Okay.
All right, do you want Graham Barton, who is the offensive lineman from Duke? He played left tackle his last 3 years there. He played center in his first year. He projects probably as a center or guard in the NFL. Very smart guy from Duke. And that's exactly what the Cowboys are looking for.
So that's why I see
there are so many people out there saying, yes, we're taking Graham Barton. Don't trade down.
And that's why I see now why people are on to Graham Barton at 24. They're using the simulator.
That's right. That's exactly right.
There you go, Mickey.
That is exactly right.
All right. So just say you found a trade. You're at around 28 or 30.
And let's just, for everyone's sake, Graham Barton is gone. He's not available.
Okay.
So now we're trading. All right. In fact, Baltimore traded up, and they took Graham Barton. Okay. So there you go. I lost it.
The whole thing?
No, I just hit the wrong button. Okay.
So
now I'm moving down to 30, and here's what's available at 30. Okay. Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Xavier Worthy, wide receiver, Texas. Keon Coleman, wide receiver, Florida State. Kingsley Suamataia, offensive tackle, BYU. Darius Robinson, defensive lineman, Missouri. How many more do you want? Zach Frazier, center, West Virginia.
You could stop right there.
Okay. So what do you want to know?
So I want to know, from a position standpoint, if all things are equal, what position would you value among those 6 guys? And trying to figure out, if I take this position, is there another position I need available in the second round? Which you have to consider, right? You got to consider the depth of the draft. Like, if I'm running out of centers, do I need to take one? Or if I need a linebacker, do I need to take a linebacker? And is the value with these wide receivers superseding the other positions?
And where do you have these players graded on your list? Just because Zach Frazier, for instance, is listed 42nd on this mock draft simulator, you might have him as a third-round pick.
Well, I saw an interesting thing, and I'm going to forget the guy's name. The Morning News had a story on a private workout guy, and he's supposed to be the offensive line whisperer, and he works out Tyler Smith in the offseason, and his contention was Tyler Smith needs to stay at guard. But when he pointed out, if you want a center, the best center in the draft is Zach Frazier, and that's the guy I brought up.
Not Jackson Powers Johnson, which a lot of people have said. Now, Jackson Powers Johnson has some injury issues.
Right, I was going to point that out. So he said that Frazier would be the pick if you wanted a center over all the other centers that are available. But again, if Darius Robinson's there, or if there's a wide receiver that you have a high grade on, what do you do?
Look at the makeup of let's just talk wide receiver for a second.
Okay.
And what the Cowboys have at wide receiver on this team. Obviously, you have CeeDee Lamb, and you have an aging Brandon Cooks. Everson, I want to ask you, what would you like to see at wide receiver on this team? Or just look in general at playmakers on this offense. Where is this team as far as playmakers, game changers on this offense?
Oh, we're at the top of the league as far as playmakers are concerned.
Okay, who are they?
CeeDee Lamb would be one.
Yep.
I like Cooks as well as a playmaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he's 31, 32 years old.
Okay.
So, which is fine for this year.
Yeah.
But this draft is not just for this year; it's for the next. Especially with a first-round pick, you're talking 5 years here. So,
as far as wide receivers are concerned, those are the only two. I like our tight end.
How do you like it? How do you like the wide receivers if one of them gets hurt?
If one of them gets hurt,
meaning CD or
I was
going to
say there's a big difference between one and the other.
No, if CD or Brandon Cooks got hurt, how is this team set at wide receiver?
They would not be set well at wide receiver. Not at all.
Yeah.
They were at
cornerback last year. Trayvon got hurt at cornerback last year. How were they at cornerback after he got hurt?
In trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
See, they were fortified because they had a Deron Bland who can
Yeah, they were okay.
Yep, they were. I think at wide receiver, if you first day of camp, CD gets hurt, now what do we do? I mean, it's kind of equivalent there. You got Trayvon, who's a $100 million player, got hurt, and they were okay at cornerback.
Right.
But right now, at wide receiver, if your top wide receiver gets hurt, you're hurting at wide receiver.
Yeah, they're okay. The backups are they're complementary players.
Tolbert,
we have complementary players at wide receiver.
And Brooks are nice third receivers.
Complementary.
But if you have to move them up to number 2, and then who's number 3, you're sitting there going,
You're back to 2017 after Dennis left, and you were in between. Then you wound up trading for Amari Cooper.
Unless you think Darden, is it Darden?
Hey, is Cooper available? He might be available.
Maybe you can get him for a fifth round.
Might be available.
Free agency.
He's having some issues out there.
So my point on that is, when we're looking at these positions, okay, they're not all the same as far as there's a defensive lineman available, there's a center, there's an offensive tackle, when you're talking offensive tackles, Kingsley Suamataia or Tyler Guyton at number 30. Well, they're like the 8. There's already been 7 offensive tackles that were drafted before then. And so you're so far down on the pecking order. It's not the same as here's the 4th wide receiver that you could get. When you in a draft where the top 3 wide receivers went in the top 10 picks in the draft. So I like this Keon Coleman from Florida State, though. You know what? He is CeeDee Lamb's cousin, too.
Oh, wow.
I saw that.
That's funny.
Yeah. He is explosive. The problem is he ran a 4.640. But on the gauntlet at the combine, they had a gun on him, and it was 20 miles an hour running the gauntlet, which is way faster than anybody else doing it.
And if you see his
play speed is
highlight film making a one-handed over-the-head catch, it had nothing to do with 4.6 speed.
I've done a lot of study on Keon Coleman, and I love him. There's another wide receiver out of South Carolina, Xavier Legette, who I really love too.
Is he the second?
He's another big. He's a big. These are both bigger wide receivers. Everson, 6'2", 215 pounds.
He's the second coming of
when
Debo.
It comes to this draft, guys, what I always. We're always, we got to have the top guy. We got to have the top guy. You better pick who goes well with your team. And he may not be the top guy. You have all of these superlatives from these guys. And it's just so much to where it just becomes white noise to me.
Yep.
It's just white noise. You could get a guy. We've got running backs that are in the league right now doing well, and I never heard of them through the draft. I don't even know if they even got drafted. You've got positions out there and players that can make plays. And once I obviously you guys can tell I'm freaking anti-draft on all this BS. I'm just saying, because to me you can find a player anywhere, and it doesn't have to be the first pick. It doesn't have to be the 10th pick.
That's right.
Might be the last pick in the draft.
You can find the guy. Thank you.
See, that's why that's my point on the whole thing when we're talking about positions. Okay, and that's why I love that I've done all this research on them, because I know that there are players throughout this draft that are really good football players who can help this football team.
And they don't have to be number 1 or 5.
Exactly.
But I think we need to go back to what is a huge need on this team. Like, what are we missing? What is something that is going to help us later on? And
there's huge needs on this team at wide receiver, 2 offensive tackles, 2 defensive tackles, 2 edge rushers.
Do we go with the alternative
linebacker, cornerback?
Do you go, let's just take the best athlete? Just take the best athlete.
It's
first, whatever pick you have.
First start is the question.
In that case, with these 5 or 6 guys, Darius Robinson might be the best athlete.
Well, we need to pick more than one. We can pick more than one each time
or
that we
Zach
pick.
Frazier.
You know what I'm saying? As far, let's say our first 3 picks, let's say first 2 picks, just get the best athlete.
Right.
And then from there, we be strategic.
So do you want the best defensive tackle available there, the best center available there, a wide receiver, or the 5th or 6th best offensive tackle?
I say you take what you take and live with it.
Which one is the best?
That's what I say.
Which one has the best?
I like that motto.
Which one has the best chance to be
a Pro Bowl player
and a day 1 starter?
Well, that's another thing. Which one can be the day 1 starter? That's a good question.
Darius
That is a good
maybe.
question.
Or
Keon
Zach
Coleman.
Frazier.
As the
all of them. There's so many needs on this team. Every single position you can pick 7 positions and they can start.
So it would come down to how they have them graded, right? And we can make an argument for Frazier, Robinson, Coleman,
Xavier Worthy,
and and I just don't want. I just don't want this perception out there that if you don't take an offensive tackle, you've screwed up the draft. Because I can get one in the 2nd round.
No doubt.
And whoever I take, is he better than moving Tyler Smith to left tackle?
And I'll give you a great example. There's a tackle at offensive tackle. Okay, people are talking, and I'm very familiar with Oklahoma football. And I've watched Tyler Guyton play the last couple of years, and the so-called experts say, okay, he's more of a developmental guy, but he's got all those tools. He got great feet.
This is okay, boy.
The Oklahoma right tackle.
Right.
And he's a right tackle.
That's all he's played is right tackle. And then I go look at this TCU left tackle, who's also played left guard, Brandon Coleman, and I'm going, that is a better football player than the one that's projected in the 1st round.
Wow.
And he's accomplished more in college, too, than the guy who's projected to be a 1st rounder. Now, Tyler Guyton's got the look, whatever, but Brandon Coleman, let me just show you on Brandon Coleman, offensive tackle, who's projected on in this little mock draft simulator. They got him with a 4th round grade. Dane Brugler had him 66th on his list. So
the wide receiver, Coleman?
Brandon Coleman,
Brandon
offensive
Coleman.
lineman.
Okay.
He's Brandon Coleman at TCU. He started this past year 7 starts at left tackle, 4 at left guard. The previous year, national championship game, he started at left tackle for 15 games all year. The year before that, he was an 8-game starter at left guard, so he's got position flexibility there. But my point on him is he ran at 6'4.5", 313 pounds, with 34.5-inch arms and nearly 11-inch hands, 4.99 40. Okay. Tyron Smith ran a 4.93 at 6'5", 307. A 34 vertical. Tyron Smith was a 29 vertical. A 9.6 broad jump. Tyron was a 9.1. a 740 cone drill. Tyron was a 747. It's almost identical numbers to Tyron Smith. I'm not saying he's Tyron Smith,
What's with the fourth round?
Because he hasn't gotten the same kind of acclaim that others have gotten. I mean, he's
lower on like the
because
list
because there are like 7 340-pound offensive tackles from Alabama who are projected to go in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill.
And so all these other tackles have been pushed down.
What about Jordan Morgan from Arizona? What do you have on him? Because I've heard a lot of things as far as him potentially fitting in on this Cowboys roster. Like, what are your thoughts there?
He's nearly 6'5", 312 pounds. One of the interesting things on him that I find interesting when you consider who the offensive line coach is with the Cowboys, Mike Solari, who was on the Pete Carroll's staff at Seattle for 4 years. The offensive coordinator at Arizona is a guy by the name of Brennan Carroll, who is Pete Carroll's son. And Brennan Carroll was the assistant offensive line coach under Mike Solari at Seattle before he took the Arizona offensive coordinator job. So if anybody knows anything or has inside info on Jordan Morgan at Arizona, it would be Mike Solari, the offensive line coach from the Cowboys. I haven't looked at him that closely, but he is amongst about a dozen offensive tackles who could be taken in the first 100 picks of this draft.
All right. So if you take a tackle, to me, he's got to be able to also play guard. All right? And so if I find out that Tyler Smith is the best tackle for left tackle on this team, if I take an offensive lineman, that guy's got to be able to beat out T.J. Bass for the starting left guard spot. He's got to be that versatile. And how many times have the Cowboys taken a tackle and played them at guard to start their careers? It's happened several times. So, and including the last time, Lael Collins. When he first got here, he started at left guard, and then they moved him to right tackle. So I want a guy, if I'm thinking right, because what if I get this first-round guy and he just can't handle as a rookie left tackle? What do I do with him? Well, I got to move Tyler Smith out there. Otherwise, I'm talking about using Waletzko or Awesome Richards or some young guy that hasn't played. I can't do that at left tackle.
So with where we're at right now, if you take Brock Hoffman and then you have T.J. Bass, who would you rather keep at that position
Trust
and
as a
start?
starter?
Yes. Who would you rather trust as a starter there? Would that maybe dictate what you do in this draft?
Which is a really good question, because T.J. Bass, I thought, played decently when he had to come in as a backup. I don't know what they think of Hoffman. Hoffman did okay at center. So they're both kind of question marks on full-time guys, because I don't think either one started more than 2 games last year. And they were both came into the league as undrafted free agents.
Nothing against undrafted free agents.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
That's right.
Nothing at all. We represent the league very well.
That's right. All right, we continue with more mix shots in just a moment.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Cowboys football and Miller Lite. What a pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going way past postgame. Sunday night overtimes followed by Monday morning swagger. Brisket in the smoker. Miller Lite in the cooler. America's team playing America's greatest sport. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
Did you know that responding to one spam call can lead to more? or that the IRS would never ask for your social security number on the phone? Beat scammers at their own game by subscribing to AARP Fraud Watch Network alerts and texts. At aarp.org/beatscammerstx, you can sign up to receive information that helps you recognize and avoid the latest scams. That's aarp.org/beatscammerstx.
You know that sound anywhere. It's the crisp crunch of that first nacho chip. With its perfect cheese to sour cream ratio sitting atop a layer of delicious beans, it's a sip away from perfection. That's what we're looking for. Add a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and we've achieved absolute nacho nirvana. Because while you can pile those nachos high with every spicy, cheesy, savory topping, there's no topping a cool Pepsi finish. Nachos, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Back to Mixed Shots.
Come out to the Star in Frisco for Dallas Cowboys Draft Weekend presented by Miller Lite. The party starts on Thursday, April 25th at 6:30 p.m. Enjoy live draft coverage, player appearances, live performances, and more. On Friday, come back for Draft Night Out with alumni and DCC appearances at Miller Lighthouse. Then finish strong on Saturday with the Draft 5K presented by Baylor Scott & White Health. For more details, visit DallasCowboys.com/draft.
We should do a Mix Shots 5K.
Okay, you go do it and you tell us how it goes.
You could walk.
Yeah, he could.
I won't be here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you guys do the Draft 5K.
You can
Let
do
me
it
know how
virtually from Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
How are they going to have a draft party with you in Detroit?
I ask myself that question every day.
That's funny. That's a good one.
Same way, how could we get through Mix Shots brought to you by Miller Lite?
Without Mickey.
Well, we can manage with that.
Yeah, we want the Miller Lite.
That may be coming up soon.
Let's check in on last year's first-round draft pick, Mazi Smith. What do you know, Mickey?
Well, Stephen Jones talked about the defensive tackle position when he was asked, and he said, I think the philosophy Zim brings to the table fits what Mazi did at Michigan. He went on to say, we have a lot of resources tied up in Mazi, what you pay a first-round pick and using a first-round pick on him. I think he fits more into what Zim does than maybe what Dan was trying to get out of him. So I think that will be a big plus for us. So I'm not sure. It kind of sounds like he's saying, we've already used a first-round pick on a defensive tackle. We sort of trust him. At least that's what he's saying. And we're paying much money there. So would you do that a second time in a row at the same position? I think Darius Robinson is more versatile than Mazi Smith. Mazi Smith's an anchor as a nose. Darius Robinson can play the nose, the three technique, and he can play defensive end. So it's not exactly the same guy.
So he's a better athlete.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. More versatile. And again, Osa is going into the final year of his deal, if I remember correctly.
That's right. Yes.
So again, you could qualify taking a defensive tackle because I could see, or a defensive end, however you look at them, because they need a defensive end, right?
Yeah.
Who's at defensive end right now?
DeMarcus Lawrence, Sam Williams,
and
Michael Parsons.
As a pass rusher, maybe. We don't know if he's a full-time defensive end.
I'm just saying, right now, he's on the line.
Maybe out of necessity, depending on what they get in the draft, right? If you get a linebacker, well, maybe he can play more defensive end. I still say if you watch him down in and down out at defensive end, he gets neutralized more times than not. Even though he's got all these pressures, which is great. But what about when they decide, we're going to run at a 250-pound defensive end?
He's had issues all year long.
Right?
All year long he's had issues. Sometimes he even has issues finding the ball at defensive end because they started to work him mentally.
Right.
They would keep him honest with the play action. And so sometimes he's even taking a play action fake and there wasn't even a play action fake. But that just lets you know how confused things can be out there no matter how good you are. if you're out of position, certain plays, and they decide to take advantage of you, they're going to take advantage of you.
And we saw, and if I need to remind everybody about stopping the run, and we talked about this 2 months ago, what Jordan Love had to say when Micah Parsons interviewed him at the Super Bowl.
Of course.
And he was very politely brought up right away.
Politely but candidly.
Right. He didn't want to talk out of school.
Exposed our run defense
You had number 14 playing middle linebacker.
Right.
He said, just going against y'all, I'm not trying to talk smack, but y'all linebackers, I think y'all had a defensive back playing linebacker. That was our goal, to run the ball. That was going to set everything else up. And he started off saying, and we saw last year, we ran the ball against you.
And it was mostly up the middle and to the right.
Right.
Offensive right. Up the middle and to the offensive right.
All right, we're in the final minute here, and when we next convene, the Cowboys will have a bunch of new players on this team next Monday.
Hopefully 8.
Well, at least. Well, actually, I'll have a lot more than that because of college free agents.
College free agents. Let's not forget those college free agents.
Have you looked at the quarterbacks at all?
I have not.
At the top of the draft?
I have not.
Okay, Washington holds the key to the draft. And, we know Caleb Williams is going to Chicago,
course, yeah.
and so what Washington does at number 2 is going to be very interesting.
Right.
Everyone likes McCarthy, right?
Jaden Daniels and Drake May, and then McCarthy has entered the fray also. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
I just got a feel for what they want to do. That
with Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator, I think it's got to be Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
I love Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
this kid.
So you hope as a Cowboys fan, you hope Washington picks someone other than Jaden Daniels.
I do.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get out of you.
Just confirming.
Yeah.
May. I think May would be the other choice there.
Right, Drake May from North Carolina.
Right.
So, okay. Any parting words from anybody?
Let's go.
Yeah, I could say something way off track. I didn't know Bill Parcells' name was Dwayne. I did not know this. I'm going to call him Dwayne.
That's right.
I did not know that.
Dwayne William?
It's Dwayne. Dwayne Charles. He took Bill as a nickname. It wasn't even his real name. Bill is not his real name.
He's not even anywhere in
Dwayne Charles
name.
Parcells is his name. I'm just saying.
Him up.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm gonna call him and I gotta get the story on that. See what's going on.
It's the part Italian in him.
I guess
Italian
Dwayne.
people always end up with nicknames.
And where you come up with
I don't
Bill.
know
All right.
where I came up
Have
with
fun
that
in
idea.
Detroit. Have fun at
Thank
the Stars
you.
game first tonight.
Yes.
Thank you, Go Stars.
I'll
Go
be
Stars.
there. Right, Spags. I'll be there.
And you're going from one hockey town to the other hockey town
Exactly.
for a football draft.
I'll shout out at you guys from Detroit.
Okay, very good. And we will shout at y'all after the Cowboys make all their picks on Monday here on Mix Shots.
Go Cowboys and Stars.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!